And yo, the Sports Bag Bros podcast is on and it's live. It's been a while since we came on live, but here we are now. So it's a Thursday, so we don't have to time ourselves. We know exactly what we're doing now. But if we're coming on live and it's a Thursday and this close to the NFL season, which is tonight, that means we're talking the NFL. We kind of hinted towards it just in our last show, but now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. The 2025 season is now upon us. We have to make our picks, the MVP, Rookie of the Year, defensive, offensive, the Super Bowl champs, the participants. So we'll just go down the rabbit hole as we go along in this show. Games tonight, a game tonight, another game tomorrow in Brazil, but tonight's game, the Dallas Cowboys are taking on the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in an old-fashioned NFC East matchup, or is it? What's good?
What's good? Yeah, not being a Cowboys fan or Eagles fan, I'm excited, but I'm not overly excited. It'd be good to see some football, but I hope both teams lose. Let it be a 3-3 tie for all I care. I don't care. But I guess I do have a little bit more disdain for the Cowboys and more so Cowboy fans and all their hyperbole, over the top craziness. So I guess tonight I'm an Eagles fan. But, as a Bears fan, I'm reserving my excitement because I need to see better before I believe the hype. Same thing happened last year. They brought in weapons. They did this. They did that. They upgraded the offensive line, and they had a terrible season. Well, they did the same thing this year. They brought in weapons. They upgraded the offensive line, brought in a new coach with zero coaching experience, and I'm supposed to buy into the hype. No, you got to show me. Anyway,
I can understand that. I can absolutely understand that. You want to see, what have you done for me lately? You haven't done a damn thing. Now you have to do something now to earn the respect of Chicago Bear fans or even the NFL, because now this is your first NFL job, head job. You've been getting a lot of credit for being a coordinator, a great coordinator for a Detroit Lions team that hadn't had success in recent memory. He's part of the success they've had in recent memory. So typically we have to wait and see, because I know there were a lot of offensive coordinators in the past who got a lot of credit, but when they became head coaches, North Turner, they didn't do what we thought they would do. So I hope this isn't one of those circumstances, but that's
even
open.
Defensive coordinators, guys like Dave Wanstead. He was at the top of the list coming from Dallas, and he didn't do so well with the Bears. He did all right, but did not live up to expectation.
Man, I don't even want to talk about my Jets, the way things are going. Vera Tucker's out for the season, a torn tricep. Our starting guard. It's like that Jets magic just can't even wait until the season starts. It has to happen. At least with Aaron Rodgers, it happened during the season in the beginning of the game. He waits the week of the game and he injures himself. Now, I'm not saying he did it on purpose. Of course not. But that's a huge cog on that offensive line, and we're going to have to make do with replacements. More importantly, this is the year where we're not going to rely on a quarterback's passing for most of the season. There's going to be running. We have Justin Fields. So we're going to run with both of the running backs, Braylon Allen, who's going to be the backup, but Breece Hall, who's the starter, a tenuous starter at that. Running between the tackles is probably going to be the bread and butter of the Jets, getting to the outside of court. But the running game as a whole, missing a guard makes that a lot more difficult now. The Jets are known for making things a lot more difficult now and forever. Let's see how the season plays out. Maybe they'll surprise everybody, but that's my spiel on the Jets and the Jets.
So here's my memo to Jets fans, being a Bears fan who saw Justin Fields for a few years. Y'all best hope that you have the lead late in fourth quarters, because if you're counting on him to lead a comeback at the end of the game, it ain't happening. It's not happening. He might get a first down or two, but at some point he's giving the ball up, whether he's throwing it to the other team or he's getting strip sacked. something's going to happen where it's not going to end in a game-winning drive. Believe me. Write it down, book it. You know where you heard it. I said it.
And I hate for that to be the case, but luckily I think we do have two running backs that can handle the load and make things a little easier so Justin Fields can kind of be what Justin Fields really is, a running quarterback, probably a halfback option quarterback, a quarterback who just happens to be a running back that throws the ball.
He fumbled a bunch of times as a scrambler in late game situations. You know, it's one of those you get out your seat. Yeah, go. Oh, what?
They got him from behind.
Oh, come on, Justin. You got to hold on to the rock. I don't know how many times I said that.
Well, this is one of those seasons where the Jets might have done Jets kind of things again. I don't know if you know, but our guy, Adrian Martinez, is the Jets waived him and waived Brady Cook, but they put Brady Cook on the practice squad and they let Martinez go to San Francisco, so he's no longer on our roster. Based on what we saw in terms of the preseason, I thought he did enough. I thought they would carry 4 quarterbacks because that's not actually a bad thing anymore. It seems like there are teams carrying 3 and 4 quarterbacks, I guess, with that 17th game. But we're just going into the season with 1 quarterback who runs the ball and could get hurt, and Tyrod Taylor, who already has a sore knee as the backup quarterback. But when he's at his best, he's also running. So this is going to be another Jets kind of season. Hopefully the defense is able to step it up, but hopefully the offense is able to do something that keeps them on the field long enough so the defense can get their rest like they didn't do with Zach Wilson a few years back. Well, a couple of years back.
So, yeah, let's get into our predictions.
Well, yeah, the predictions. Well, the first prediction will be, I guess, who's going to get the Defensive Rookie of the Year trophy. You have obviously a lot of defensive players. I know a lot of people are thinking about Abdul Carter for the New York Giants, and it looks like Vegas is kind of following suit. But I don't know where to go because I thought about him, but then I thought about other defensive linemen who came out with all of this hoopla only to fall face first when it came down to, trying to get a Rookie of the Year. They were just not there.
So you mentioned them. I don't know if you know this, but 5 out of the last 6 defensive rookies of the years have been edge rushers.
Okay.
So, that's a strong trend. So I'm going to go with Abdul Carter. He's the best of the lot. He's highly talented. I don't see why he would not live up, at least make a splash, to be up there for consideration for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and I can see that as well. I mean, because I didn't want to go chalk on this, and you can see the.
I didn't want to either, but when I saw the trend,
I know. When you see, you see the way it turns out. You see the way it goes, and you're like, you know what? It's probably a likely scenario because that is one of the defensive glamour positions away from cornerback. But I do remember, the Giants years ago, getting other outside linebackers or defensive linemen that didn't live up to expectation as well. And I wonder what the hell happened to him. And I think, what's the kid from Oregon just a few years ago who just came in? Kayvon Thibodeau came from Oregon. Another one of those players who came highly touted. He was talking all this nonsense about what he was going to do in New York, do for the Giants, how he was going to make Lawrence Taylor proud, even though Lawrence Taylor was an outside linebacker, not a defensive end. But nevertheless, he didn't do it. So now I think he's even backing up Abdul right now. So I guess I didn't want to necessarily go with him. So you know what? I'm going to take not a homer pick, just a guy from my home. And it's probably going to be someone like a Travis Hunter. And I'm wondering how, because he's also could win the Offensive Rookie of the Year as well. And I think the likelihood would be him being the Offensive Rookie if he's going to win either one of them, because he's going to play wide receiver. And he's teaming up with Brian Thomas, who had the most yards out of all the rookies last year and double-digit touchdowns. I think Trevor Lawrence gets it together. He can spread the wealth just like the Bengals did a couple of years ago, spreading the wealth between their receivers. The Jags can do the same with another rookie who can step to it with that explosiveness. I think I'm going with Travis Hunter on the defensive side, though.
I can see that, but the reason why I'm not going with Travis Hunter, he's going to play both ways.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be hard for him to be 100% week in, week out.
And that is true.
Playing both sides of the field. I just don't see him having. Maybe he make a splash early, but when you get to week 8 and 9, he might start getting nicked up, and maybe he misses a few games. I just don't see him, sustaining that type of play all season long for 17 games.
And he's slight in the body. He still has his collegiate body, and for a collegiate player, he was still slight in the body. So he hadn't gotten much bigger. We're going to have to wait to the off-season program after his rookie year, so you could probably start seeing those gains physically. But in terms of overall talent, he has the ability to do the offensive part.
That's true.
And defensively, he has.
I'm not disputing his talent.
It's just a matter of wear and tear. That's it.
But here's something else to consider: his marital situation. There's one or two ways it can go. He can focus everything. I'm just football, and raise his level of play to another level he hasn't reached yet, or it can mess with him mentally, and he might be checking out from time to time.
But I think from the inside looking around instead of the outside looking in, there aren't as many marital problems, if any real marital problems, that people are saying on the outside. I'm seeing the internet blow up all of this nonsense and saying what's happening. They have videos and all this crap they're trying to tie together, saying that his marriage is falling apart. His relationship is going to be a big issue. They're already talking about him losing pretty much his entire NFL contract to her. It's not true.
Bro, the partner's usually the last one to find out, man.
The partner's probably the last one to find out, but going by the reality of what's going on, it seems like everybody on the outside is saying something like that. Here in Jacksonville, I don't think they do have somewhat of an investment emotionally in him being a successful player here in Jacksonville. They like him, especially as a person, he seems so far. But those stories that are happening online and those things I'm hearing in other news, pretty much news that doesn't matter, all of this internet stuff, I don't hear it on First Take. I don't hear it on ESPN anywhere else or Fox 1, none of these places, because those people will get caught for libel and slander. But these people on the internet can say what the hell they want. They don't have to have any credibility, and they're doing just that.
They talk about the Cowboys in March and April when nobody's even thinking about football. They have their own agendas, man. I don't think you can base your opinion on that.
I can, but for someone who wants to break a story, and I know all about the media being interested in breaking a story and wanting to be first and right, they would have done it by now. At least people who do have somewhat of credibility would have done that by now. No one's really done that. It's all of these people in the periphery who have no credibility, regardless of how many subscribers they have, how many followers they have. They're just saying stuff,
would they say,
getting more subscribers.
What would they say?
What would they say?
He needs to leave that hole. What is Stephen A. going to say?
They'll straight up say that his marriage is messing up, or the way these people, you see some of these thumbnails and these thumbnails saying he's losing $40 million to her. At the very least, somebody from a credible outlet would say Travis Hunters are losing $40 million. It doesn't say that she's a hoe. It doesn't say how bad a hoe she is. It says that his wife is getting $40 million. I think that's good enough to make something really matter. We haven't even heard that tidbit. All of these stories, these sensationalized, glamorized stories are coming from outlets with zero credibility other than a large subscriber base of people who would like to believe things like that. They love to get messy. They want to see something like that because it keeps them going. We have a society of toxicity. If anything's going wrong, especially if you can have fun basking in their misery, you're going to do it. And this is the society we have right now.
I hope he doesn't have marital status. Marital issues. I hope she really loves him, is not playing him. But, you mentioned where she went up to party and he stayed outside. Like, that's not normal shit.
That's not normal. Maybe he's a cuck. I don't freaking know. Maybe he's one of these dudes who got with this chick knowing all this. I don't know, because that was a college story that he was outside while she was inside partying, and God knows what happened inside while she was partying. And if she was partying when you're that age and you're how she looks, only bad things can happen if you're in a relationship with her. And that may have happened, may not have happened. We haven't heard anything solid, nothing but rumors, if anything else, if something like that would have happened. But anyway, I don't think it's going to really bother him until something really hits and it sticks. Then that's a damn deal. until then, because even during the Heisman time, you heard about a bunch of these things, and at least ESPN mentioned it. And
all it takes is one road trip. He calls after the walkthrough or after practice or whatever, and she's not picking up her phone. He calls 20 minutes later. She doesn't answer again. Then he calls an hour later. She's still not answering.
Oh, yeah, I can understand exactly. Everybody has been through it. It's human nature. And even as an athlete who probably at this point in his life, with this money that he has, he can probably get other women if it's just other women for the sake of having them, not relationship-wise, but just to knock something down and take care of time. That could happen because he has the money to do it. But I just don't see this happening just right now. These rumors and all of these other things that are happening in the periphery, nothing to it so far that's really going to bother him. When that stuff really hits the fan, we've seen when things have hit the fan with other players in the past. You know, when Kobe Bryant's issue had hit the fan in the past, we saw how it affected him, you know, and how, you know, just his image, if nothing else at all. I think with right now with Travis Hunter, he's just living the rookie life. He's just going through the growing pains of just doing his job. This personal stuff, I don't think it's as big as these people on the outside would like for it to be. They hear all of these damn stories. They want this to be legitimate because that's how you keep the toxic fire burning. But so far, I don't think that's the case. But I do believe if it's just football, he has the opportunity to be an offensive rookie of the year or a defensive rookie of the year. I'm thinking if the likelihood of offense, yes, but I think defense, because the scarcity of him being out there in defense, which I believe he won't be out there as often, the plays he make are the ones you remember.
We'll see. We'll see. I just think it'd be a big challenge for him to play all 17 games this year.
No. I think the same thing. That's why I'm saying the scarcity part is going to probably be on defense, where he will probably be a nickel back and then eventually may move over to being a corner. But he'll get weaned into that spot. And if he makes plays, he's going to get a lot of credit for making those plays the few times he probably has to make them. People will remember that more than they'll remember, you know, somebody else doing the same thing because of who he is. And it's a good thing for Jacksonville, because if he's wherever he would have gone, would have gotten the same amount of attention. It just happens to be here in Jacksonville. And he, probably not even Trevor Lawrence, is kind of the person that people on the outside think about first when they think about the Jacksonville Jaguars, not necessarily Trevor Lawrence anymore. And that's
I was going to ask you about Trevor Lawrence. Is this the year where he finally? This is the
year. You know what? I'm going to put, based on the things that
all last year, every week we're asking, is this going to be the week he has the breakout game? Is this the week he's getting? It was week 9, and we're still asking, when's the breakout game coming?
Bro, and the year before, we were doing the same thing until they shut him down. Like, damn, right. I guess we won't get what we want. I'm thinking this year is going to be the year Trevor Lawrence finally shows what he showed when they went to the playoffs that year. So let's see what happens. He has weapons all around him now. There's no excuse. Even if Travis Etienne isn't going to be the steady running back, and it may be Tank Bigsby, I'm a Jets fan, but the Jags have enough weapons on defense.
Etienne's another guy that was disappointing.
He was disappointing, and that's why Tank Bigsby is likely going to be the starting running back. I don't even think it's likely. I think he is the starting running back, and I think Travis Etienne.
Like if Trevor Lawrence and the boys played the way they were supposed to, I don't think the Texans and CJ Stroud win the division 2 years ago.
Yeah, and I think all of that will be handled this year. So right now we got to move on a little bit because time is short. Let's go up. The games are coming on tonight. So offensive rookie of the year. I think, to me, it almost seems like one person, but who's your choice?
I'm going to go with Colston Loveland because Ben Johnson, you know what we know what he did up in Detroit with Laporta. Yeah. He loves the tight end. I think he's going to game plan for Loveland. I think Loveland's going to have a big rookie season.
Wow, kind of like Bowers did last year for the Raiders. I'm going to go with another Raider, and that's going to be Ashton Genty. I thought that's the obvious choice. I think Vegas-wise, he's the obvious choice. And
you're just going chalk all over the board.
You know what? With him, I think it probably would be chalk, but I think it wouldn't be wrong doing that because I remember just a few years ago, it was chalk to take Bijan Robinson, who I didn't think was going to be that great. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs was going to do better, and he did. And he's still doing better than what Bijan Robinson is doing now. He has a better team around him, but being small in stature, but being explosive and a huge part of that offense, I think that's what makes him that kind of a player. Ashton Jeanty, I think he may be a generational running back, even though we haven't seen too many running backs of late that are changing the needle or moving the needle on these teams. You know, you look at the old stalwart like a Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey, when he can stay healthy, you see them moving the needle on it. But I'm thinking Jeanty, based on what we saw in college, and I'm not even going to put too much stock in the preseason. He was locked down in his first game, did well in the second game. I'm not going to put too much stock there. I'm just going by his overall ability. What I remember him doing as a collegiate player, the things that do transition over to the pro game, like having vision, that transitions. Not knowing how to block doesn't transition, but he's one of those willing blockers. And catching out of the backfield, he didn't do that a lot at Boise because Madison couldn't throw the ball that well, even on a freaking screen. So I think this is something he does this year. And they're having a quarterback issue, so they'll just pile it on to him. And remember, just a couple of years ago as well, was it Josh Jacobs that led the NFL in rushing coming from the Raiders?
Jacobs is a bad dude, though.
Yeah, exactly. He's a bad dude, and he's a bigger dude. I think that Ashton Jeanty, you know, and he doesn't take a lot of punishment like people think. He's big, he's low to the ground, that center of gravity. He runs with authority, but he doesn't take as much of a punishment, and he gets through there a lot faster than Jacobs does. And I know Jacobs did lead the league in rushing, and they wanted him to come back, but take a pay cut. And my man was like, how the hell am I taking a pay cut and playing for a losing team? I'm getting out of here. He has that ability, but I think Ashton Jeanty is a special player. The last time I said this was Melvin freaking Gordon playing for San Diego. But I think Jeanty has that staying power. He's what they need. I just hope they don't Darren McFadden him.
So what's next? Bust?
Yeah, the biggest bust in the NFL. Overall bust, not even just a rookie, just the overall bust. Rookies, veterans, anyone.
Oh, see, I was thinking rookie. My rookie bust is gonna be Ashton Jeanty.
Holy crap. You know what? God, and I hate it because, like I just said at the end of that tirade, I hope they don't Darren McFadden him. Because remember, Darren McFadden was so damn good coming out of Arkansas. I was hoping the Jets had gotten him. And I remember it was at the same time Leon Washington was still with the Jets. And I was on the phone with him the day of the draft because he was doing an event at Times Square. And I was like, man, I hope we get Darren McFadden. He says, we don't need him. Of course, you're going to say that. You're in the same backfield. Your time is going to go down a little bit if he comes. And the Raiders end up getting him. And just like the Raiders always do with these running backs of late, well, back then especially, nothing happened. He's getting like 2 or 3 yards of carry. And then he gets injured because they can't block worth a damn. And the rest is history. He never lived up to his potential.
I have to give a quick reason why. I'm the opposite of you. I do not expect anything special out of Jeanty. You know, I know he's going to probably get the rock 20 times a game. I just don't think he's going to do anything special. He may end up around 800 yards or so, which technically wouldn't be a bust. But if you're expecting him to be probably a 1,200, 1,300 yard rusher with 17 games, right? So based off of that, I'm picking him as my bust.
Oh wow! See, wow, that's something right there. Because
you got to keep in mind too, the Raiders are probably going to fall behind. They're going to have to start throwing the ball. So I said 20, but is he really going to get 20 carries every game?
It's, you know,
if he was playing with the Eagles, he would definitely get 20 carries a game.
You know what?
And he probably could go for 120, 140 yards.
Based on what the Raiders have on their team at quarterback, Geno Smith is there. We do know he's somewhat of a running threat, and he throws the ball capably. He can keep defenses off because, you know, until recently when he started kind of falling back to the pack, when he first got to Seattle, he was playing well. I think, was he comeback player of the year, etc.? He was doing well. I think that he's good enough with this Raiders team to do well enough to keep the complete pressure off of Jeanty, and Jeanty just does what he wants. And now you have Cleveland that just traded Kenny Pickett. That doesn't say much about, well, if Geno goes down, Kenny's going to be there. Well, Kenny's
I'm
been
just
a couple
saying,
places now.
If you're down 17-3 at the half, you're not coming out running off tackle. It's just not going to happen.
If you're the Raiders?
Consistently, anyway.
The freaking Raiders?
Consistently.
The Raiders do a whole bunch of things that people don't like for them to do. But yes, but you know what? I don't think I've heard or seen anyone say that about Genty yet. I've had people pick other people, but not say that he was going to be a bust. I mean, pick other people in terms of rookie of the year offensively. They weren't going to pick him, but they'll pick somebody else. But as far as a bust, I don't see it coming. I haven't heard a lot of people. So you definitely probably on Revis Island by yourself with that one.
The only one. We'll see.
Yeah, you might be on Revis Island with that one. So, I was thinking about Deebo Samuel being a kind of a bust for the Washington Redskins. Going by the pain in the butt he was with San Francisco and the injuries, all we need is another injury, and then they're back to just having the team they had last season. I mean, which isn't bad.
I can see that. The only thing is, I didn't consider any other players around the league. I just considered rookies. That's why I went with Genty.
Yeah.
If I had to think about it, I might go with Caleb Williams as being the biggest bust.
You know what? I actually have you have more intimacy with him being there, watching him from the very, very beginning.
Whoa. Watch the words you use.
Well, you have more. You have a better grip on what he's doing because you get a chance to watch him all the time. You saw it from the very beginning, from the podium all the way to the pre-camp, mini camps, up to the season, and saw every game he played in. So you have a much better idea what's going on than I would. I thought that with Ben Johnson there, that offensively, he does have physical gifts. Even though I don't trust USC quarterbacks, but he wasn't just a USC quarterback. He was also Oklahoma's quarterback.
I got a proposal or a suggestion for Ben Johnson. Start Bagent, let the Bears fall behind, and then bring in Caleb, because that's when he starts playing well, when they're losing by 2 touchdowns.
Well, I'm pretty interested in seeing how the culture works there. How much did Ben Johnson really mean to that Detroit Lions team? Because remember, Jared Goff isn't anything special. We're talking about a quarterback who got to the NFC Championship game last year. In the past 2 seasons, he's thrown for 24 interceptions. He's never really been anything special. Everything else worked around him, and he was definitely a part of it. But I'm thinking Ben Johnson putting him in position to do exactly what he did. And that defense also had a huge part in it as well. But Ben Johnson putting him in that position, talent-wise, do you think Jared Goff, talent-wise, is the same, especially at this point in his career? Well, both of those guys are second-year players, talent-wise. Who's better? I think overall, talent-wise, Caleb Williams is still better than Goff now, talent-wise. Now, it has to translate, and only experience can do that. Does he pick up that experience in year 2? Does he move the needle in year 2 or what?
I hope he does. Obviously, I hope I'm wrong, but he looked like hot garbage in the preseason. First day of practice, the first team offense got yanked off the field because of how they looked. It may not be all Caleb Williams' fault, but if the line misses an assignment here, he starts hearing footsteps because there's too much pressure. He holds the ball. There's just a lot of things that need to be corrected. And I don't know if it could be corrected in one training camp.
I mean, they've had several training camps, several sessions in the
OTAs,
summer camp,
spring,
OTAs, all those things, man. And typically, the biggest jump a quarterback makes is from his first to his second year. Like boxers, the first fight to their second fight are typically the biggest jump they're going to make, at least amateur-wise.
My concern is in the preseason, the defenses are not showing you anything complicated. They're not giving you different
vanilla defense.
They're not trying to trick you. They're not putting 8 in the box and only rushing 4, or putting 6 in the box and then coming with 7. They're not doing any of that, or showing man and then dropping in the zone. They're just playing straight up. And if you're struggling against that, what happens when the lights are on and they are trying to disguise coverages?
Well, that's every player, though, I guess, when you're going into the preseason all quarterbacks facing that same thing, the first, second, third string, I guess even in camp, the fourth string quarterback facing those same things, getting those same results. People want to act differently with those results and do what they want with them. We could talk about Jackson Dart, how great he looked, but he's going against that same vanilla defense. We look at Shador when he played well in the first game, he's going against that same vanilla defense. He went against that same vanilla defense in his second start and got sacked 5 times. So, but I'm saying, we know that's been the case all the time. You don't want to show. There's been some plays the Jaguars had shown offensively. I wish they would have waited to the regular season. Now it's on video. People know it's a possibility now if they want to check some of your plays out. It was some nice little plays they did, nice little trick plays that they had executed that now is on video. Now, if someone wanted to be tedious enough, which is your job, to look up things like that, knowing now that it's a possibility, maybe remote, but still a possibility, you may use it during the season. I hated that they used plays like that because it would have been fun to see it during the regular season. So what would be next? Who would be
NFC champs?
NFC champs. Man, see, it's crazy how this is all working out because the Philadelphia Eagles seems to be the team people think is going to go there again. I'm looking at last season. I'm looking at Jalen Hurts. And I'm looking at the 18 touchdowns. I'm thinking less of Jalen Hurts within the scope of the team, and you have that opportunity. But because of the MVP, because they have that championship, are they going to make him or force him to throw the ball more than he would normally throw the ball, or force him, or does he feel the pressure to make even more plays now that puts him at a deficit instead of just doing what got him there, which is being efficient, being solid, let your defense do the work, let Saquon do what he does, and let's roll with it. I'm thinking this is going to be the year, even though he comes across as one of those guys without an ego, the pressure is on. You're in Philly. I've heard those stations up there before. Oh, they're rancid. He's going to probably try to become this better than he is player. 18 touchdowns, and you still won the Super Bowl for a quarterback. Trent Dilfer-ish, but he's better than Trent Dilfer.
You can say he's going to try this or he's going to try that, but he's not calling his own plays. And as long as that line is healthy and blocking like they can block and Saquon can run like he can run, they're not going to need Jalen to throw for 250, 300 yards and 3 touchdowns a week. It's just not going to be necessary.
No, it isn't going to be necessary. But I'm just wondering, though,
But that's what I'm saying. If he's not calling his own plays, does the offensive coordinator care if he throws 3 touchdowns every week? No.
But the plays that
the coordinator is going to do what works.
The plays that are called, will he try to do more than what's required? Instead of that check down, do you take that deep pass? I'm just wondering something like that. I think less of him will mean the team succeeds. Now, I don't mean less because he's untalented. I mean less of him because it is what got them there last season and what had won the Super Bowl for them, along with Saquon Barkley. Now, on the other hand,
the Eagles get back, it's going to be because their offensive line is Saquon.
And Saquon Barkley, though, what do you do for an encore?
The defense was
when it was time to be good, they was great.
Yeah.
But as far as Saquon Barkley goes, what do you do for an encore? He has an injury history. Was this just that year that he didn't get injured? And this is that year that he wanted to really stick it to the Giants organization and show that he had it left. His whole talent showed out. But now in this second year, the target on your
this year for an encore, he can't just jump backwards over somebody.
Bro, that's something that happens any damn way.
For an encore, he's either got to do 360 over a guy or do a front flip.
Pirouette. He had a pirouette layup.
You can't just jump backwards over. We've seen that already. You got to do something extra. 360 or front flip.
We have a demanding crowd here with that. If you're looking for him to do something like that, land on his feet and continue to run, Saquon Barkley.
I don't know, but I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna pick the 49ers to make a strong comeback and go back to the Super Bowl.
I was thinking about the 49ers, man, but I look at, are they even the same defensively? And then do you really look at Christian McCaffrey and expect him to stay healthy? Something he hasn't done with any consistency his time in the NFL. I know he had a worse team back in the day, but with being with Carolina, but since he's with the 49ers, definitely a hell of a damn player. When he's healthy, he can do everything you need him to do when he's healthy. But
I just think everybody's forgotten about the 49ers. The Packers got Micah Parsons. The Eagles are defending champs. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. I think the 49ers are going to fly under the radar and sneak up on people, and that's my pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, as a wide receiver, I do. Like last year before the gunshot, I was going to take Ricky Pearsall as my rookie of the year, but he got freaking shot. Get out of here. He's back 100% now. I call him probably the most overrated first-round draft pick, only because I think he's good talent-wise, definitely first-round talent, but probably not a first-round pick if you can make any damn sense of that. I didn't think he should have gone in the first round, but then when he went in the first round, I was expecting something from him. That's why I took him as my rookie of the year last year before I had to change to Lat McConkey, who also had a damn good year, but now he has his chance. Josh Purdy, not Brock Purdy. Josh Purdy. Oh, well, I'm getting wrong again. Get the hell out of here. Brock Purdy is he's gonna be with the new contract, finally getting the respect he deserves financially, accepted by the team as the leader of the team. They're looking at him as the long-term solution. Ricky Pearsall can be that play to take the pressure off him as well. And we know that Christian McCaffrey, while he's healthy, will do a lot of the same things. George Kittle, let's not forget how good he was before. I'm not going to say before he was not good, before the injuries. He's still damn solid, still damn good.
Really good. Yeah.
He reminds me of Jason Witten. Just reliable as hell, but he has more speed than Jason Witten. But
so have you picked who? Have you made a pick yet?
Of the defense?
NFC?
In the NFC, I was going to go with Philadelphia, but I was like, it's not even a chalk thing. It was like the reason why I was telling you I thought that, or I still think that Hurts is probably going to try to do more now than he probably should do. So going with that, let me see. Because damn, I don't even think I had, even though I thought about it, I just couldn't push it through. Let me see. You look at somebody from the, I'm not going to say the Falcons. Damn. This is crazy how I'm not even coming up with this. Washington. Yeah. I think Washington can do it, first of all, because the NFC East is not going to be that great to begin with. The Dallas Cowboys aren't expected to be that great. The Giants with a rookie quarterback likely aren't going to be that great this year. You have just Washington and you have the Eagles. Those two will battle it out. Didn't they split last season? So I'm thinking that they're on the cusp. Washington's at least on the cusp. And I think that if Jalen Hurts is doing what I'm thinking that he may do by doing too much, and there's a lot of ifs because you got to hope that Saquon Barkley, knowing his history of injuries, is not going to get injured to a point to where he's missing significant time and is going to directly affect the team. Maybe a losing streak if he's out for any period of time, and now you have to rely even more on Jalen Hurts. I'm thinking the consistency, and with the added player in Deebo Samuels, even though I think he could be a bust with Washington, I'm thinking Washington could be that team from the NFC.
Okay. We got in the AFC.
So the AFC, bro, this has to be the year, man. This has to be the year. And no, not Baltimore. I'm thinking Josh Allen finally has to get it done for me.
Oh, he's stealing my thunder.
Josh, man, that dude's too good. And I know there've been quarterbacks just as good or greater than him. Jim Kelly is one of them who did it 4 times and couldn't win a damn Super Bowl. Well, at least he got there, though. So I'm thinking this year, Josh Allen should be able to put it together, even though I'm thinking Lamar's pissed off and Derrick Henry's pissed off. You were pissed off last season. You put up ridiculous numbers last season. You put up legendary numbers last season. Couldn't win a championship. I think the window's closing for them in that running back where the door closes so fast overnight. Are you still going to expect a close to 2,000-yard season from Derrick Henry in 17 games? The guy's big. He puts in the work. But sometimes destiny says we're going to bang you around and see if you can really put in the work. And that doesn't take a whole season.
So I'm with you. I'm going with Buffalo. I believe I picked Josh Allen to win MVP last year. I don't remember, but I'm writing my picks down this year. But
I'm always go back to the video.
That's true. But we have to sort through all the videos. But anyway, I'm going with Buffalo because as you mentioned earlier, Baltimore's got to deal with the Steelers and Cincinnati, and out west, the Chiefs. Denver's getting better. The Chargers are getting better. I just think the Bills have an easier road throughout the season, and they'll have home field advantage. And if it comes down to the Chiefs going to Buffalo again, I think the Bills will get them this time. There's only so many times that the Chiefs can. I mean, I can't even say they played great games to beat Buffalo. Now the year where they were going back and forth and it went into overtime, okay, that was a great game. But Buffalo made mistakes last year, man. If they clean that up, they go to the Super Bowl. So, but that's part of experience. Kansas City's gotten there. They've been to the mountaintop. They're not going to beat themselves. The Bills, they got to learn how to win those games. And I think this year they get it done.
And as dominant as Kansas City has been up until last season when Philadelphia abused them in the Super Bowl, I'm wondering now, because they've been to the mountaintop so many times and they've won so many times, they've even lost while being at the mountaintop, there always has to be an end to the story. They always have to be what they call the denouement, coming down. I wonder, was last season the beginning of the end, at least of that elite status going to the Super Bowl regularly, it seems like, for Kansas City. I wonder if they're just a good team, not a great team anymore. I wonder if they're just playoff quality and not Super Bowl quality anymore. I'm thinking that last year might have started that decline. For all intents and purposes, it is a decline. And the way they were beaten into the Super Bowl, there are other teams who are picking it up defensively as well, to where they could play a lot like what Philly had done. And because we look at the final score, it was closer than it looked, but we watched the game and saw how dominant that defense was really getting after it. And to the point where I thought that anyone on that defense could have gotten the MVP, the same way Dexter Jackson got that MVP down in Tampa when Brad Johnson was quarterbacking down there and put up a lot of the same numbers that Jalen Hurts put up. Defensively, they just dominated Kansas City. And almost all last season, we saw it week after week. Man, when is Mahomes going to start looking like Mahomes? And we were saying, even though he didn't look like Mahomes, they were still winning games. But
right
now, I think
him and Trevor Lawrence, we were asking every week, what's going on? What's going on? And I was saying the Chiefs were disinterested. You go to Super Bowl every year, the playoff. I mean, regular season games is hard to get up for them. But when it came to the Super Bowl, they couldn't get back to that level they were used to.
Yeah, exactly. They couldn't do anything. And I was like, wow, I was pretty shocked. Hell, I took them. I didn't expect them to freaking lose to the Philadelphia Eagles. And it was based on Jalen Hurts. But hell, he ends up getting the MVP. The Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl again. And now I'm wondering, or it looks like it may be the beginning of the end for Kansas City. Based on that, that's why someone else has to step in. I think Buffalo, and if Buffalo gets there, I don't think they're going to do like Kansas City, win year after year. I'm thinking they're just going to finally break that curse of never winning a Super Bowl. They'll get there. So I guess with that, I'm kind of saying they should win the Super Bowl this year. But no, I think eventually, if this keeps up, they will win a Super Bowl. Right now, who you're going to take with the NFC? Well, you said
49ers.
Okay, so 49ers.
I'm going to go with the Bills to win it all.
49ers and Bills. If it's the 49ers and Bills, I'm going with the Bills as well. Because last year we talked about that defensive line in particular with San Francisco. That's not there anymore. I mean, that's just not there. Everyone's gone. So that's what I wanted defensively. What are they going to do? Because even with those players last year, what did they really do? Nothing. And so I'm thinking that Buffalo finally gets it done. And I'm hoping they get it done. If the Jets aren't going to get it done, we don't have to worry about the Jets. But damn, Buffalo, the one New York team, at least the real New York team, I can see that happening. So now we come down to, as far as the coaches go, we have 32 coaches in the NFL. Some are new, some aren't. Most of them aren't. Some of them are good, some are decent, some are even great. But then some are just were starting off well, aren't well now, but eventually the love fest may be over. Who would be the first coach to get fired this year?
First coach to get fired? Ben Johnson. No.
That's the guy has too much money tied up. Unless they go 0-16, 0-17, even then I still think he comes back.
I didn't even give that one any thought. Go ahead. I needed to think a little bit.
man, I had to go Southern on this. And I guess since they're in the AFC South, I'm going to say Shane's going stinking up the joint. And that's why he's going to get fired. Shane Steichen is going to get fired. He's going to get fired. Come on. You have Daniel Jones. And then to back him up, you have Richardson, Anthony Richardson, who could arguably be one of the biggest busts as well in the NFL. And
that's a poor quarterback room, man.
That's a terrible quarterback room. I think they might be fighting in that room just for the hell of it, just to pass time. They're not doing anything else to help them play a game. So I'm thinking that Shane Steichen will be out of the game, will be the first one fired. If there's going to be a coach fired during the season, he's going to be one. My other one was, well, who you got?
Who's Jacksonville's coach?
Cohen.
They just got him, right?
Yep, just came from Tampa.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I don't have high expectations for the Jags, so I thought their coach would be in jeopardy, but
Cohen.
They just got him.
You know,
I think he gets more than 1 year. He has to.
Oh no, he's getting more. This is an Urban Meyer.
Unless they're absolutely atrocious, like start out 0-9, 0-10, but
bro, this isn't Urban Meyer. This isn't Frank Reich in Carolina, I believe. This isn't Frank Reich up in Indianapolis, I believe. But this isn't Pete Carroll when he was with the Jets and they just got rid of him after one season. I think he's gonna, and based on what he has around him, he's gonna win some games. I don't think anything catastrophic on the football field could happen with the talent he has. And even with the expectations, because I don't even think Jaguar fans have the expectations of a Super Bowl. They would love one. They would love to get to the playoffs. They would like to win the AFC South, which is probably likely. I think they're now equal or better than what the Texans have right now, even with CJ Stroud. And let's see how it plays out. But yeah, Shane Steichen is the one. Steichen is the one I'm thinking is going to get fired with Indianapolis. I thought Josh McDaniels may be one of those coaches too down in Miami. It's all contingent on what Tua does. Probably even contingent on what Tyreek does because he can't shut his mouth and he hasn't been the same.
I don't know. I really can't think of anybody. I was thinking about maybe Brian Schottenheimer just because of Jerry Jones down there in Dallas.
Oh, no, he got enough issues. I think Jerry, even though he doesn't care, I think he has enough issues. He just can't get one coach and just fire one coach because even though it is the Dallas Cowboys, who's going to really want to coach there if he's doing that crap, that quick knee-jerk nonsense?
I don't know. I'm going to have to abstain on this one. I really can't think of anybody.
And Micah Parsons leaving a debacle with that. Fans aren't happy about that. CeeDee Lamb is like the only thing there because he still needs someone to throw to him. And can Dak Prescott even do that anymore? Joe Milton will be happy to do it if he can't.
I don't know. The first quarterback to get benched. Could be Dak Prescott or Caleb Williams or Aaron Rodgers?
Who's Caleb Williams? Oh, no. Bajan is Caleb Williams' backup, right?
Tyson Bajan, yep.
Yeah, Tyson Bajan.
Who is Aaron Rodgers' backup?
Who Aaron Rodgers' backup? Oh, God. Shoot.
Screw it. I'm going to go out on the limb. Steeler fans are crazy. They want Tomlin fired. So I'm going to say Mike Tomlin.
That's craziness. Man, I can't even imagine Mike. Bro, even if he has his first losing season.
In the middle of the season, like say they're 5-3.
The Moodies don't do that. First of all,
4-4. He'll be the only coach never have a losing record to get whacked.
And that'll be, bro, come on now. You already know. With today's climate, that would, man, they'll be picking signs outside of Pittsburgh Steelers. That'll be a national story. This guy goes all this time never having a losing season, and you fire him during the season. I mean, first of all, the Roonies just don't do business like that. They just hadn't done anything like that. They just had like a handful of coaches in their entire career, in their entire history.
Hey, the Bears had never fired a head coach in the middle
until last season.
Either, so.
Yeah, but you know what? You headed into last season talking about this dude shouldn't have been around for last season. maybe there's some Pittsburgh Steelers fans saying that Cowboys shouldn't be coming into this
I got to
season.
pick somebody. I'm going to go out on the limb. If I was wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. Regardless, Mike Tomlin, he's top 5 coach in the league.
Bro, if that damn happens, man, you might as well get your crystal ball and start opening up a booth.
Hey, the Powerball's tonight. I got to go buy a ticket.
Yo, for real. You know what? That's for real too, man. Mike Tomlin, I can't even imagine. Man, I can't even imagine if he just when he eventually, even if he resigns, I'm still thinking they're pressuring him to get out of there. I just don't have any recollection of the Rooney's doing anything like that. Either you're going to leave in your own volition or.
Well, they've only had like 3 coaches in there.
That's what I'm saying. You go with Chuck Noll, and then you go with what's his name? Coach Coward, and now him. I mean, bro, that's covering like 50 years of football.
Right.
Just 3 dudes. That's crazy. And so I don't know. And then the guy who brings in the Rooney Rule has to put this brakes on this. Yeah, come on, man. That's something else. But yeah, I can't see that.
He's getting picked for MVP.
MVP of the league MVP. The way God, this could be another one of those seasons where Lamar Jackson gets the league MVP and still doesn't show up in the playoffs or show up and get himself a ring. But Josh Allen's showing what he can do, running the ball, throwing the ball, having it all work out his way in that division. The Jets and the Dolphins playing him twice, and then New England. Well, let's not forget how bad they were last season, going into the second year, but the first year for a head coach, but not his first year. But man, to have
you stole my thunder again. I'm going Josh Allen again.
Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I gotta rock with Josh Allen, man. He's that damn good. I mean,
I think, sometimes when you get close and next year, like you feel you may have let it slip through your fingers. You come in with more purpose, more focus, more determination. Like, I think that Bills team is going to be on a mission.
And I'm also wondering, Justin Herbert, this is a year for him to finally show some consistency and go. Bo Nix, I mean, I'm not looking at MVP, but he's shown improvement throughout the season last season. So you're thinking that he's really going to catapult this season. At least it looks like that with Sean Payton being his coach. It looks like that's a real possibility. But Justin Herbert, for the talent he has just not been getting the results. But last season he started showing something, and it was because of Jim Harbaugh.
That's true. I wanted the Bears to trade the number 1 pick for him, but I'm not the GM. Yeah,
right. But Jim Harbaugh, I mean, I've always thought he was a damn good coach. I loved him as a college coach, even though he wasn't my dude, my cane. But watching from afar, just seeing the way he handled things, he's kind of walked around with the middle finger up to the NCAA gang, the stealing signs and all that other nonsense, and sending his coaches to other games on the sideline. Bro, he's my kind of guy. But anyway, oh wow. So what else do we have? We got our MVP. We got our Super Bowl. Well, who's going to win the Super Bowl? You said Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo should be able to beat. If they meet San Francisco, they should be able to beat San Francisco. So much can happen between now and then. So many freaking injuries.
You didn't pick the 49ers. Who'd you pick?
The 49ers. No, who did I pick? I took Washington.
There you go, Redskins. That's probably a much better game, but I'm going out on the limb. I'm a Brock Purdy guy, so I think the 49ers bounce back.
Yeah, I like Brock Purdy, man. I wouldn't be unhappy if they did. I'm just wondering how the hell they're going to do it. And that's it. Christian McCaffrey didn't get as banged up last season. He did start off a little roughy, but
I just hope come week 8, week 9, we're not having an emergency podcast talking about why Caleb Williams is riding the bench.
Hey, if he's riding the bench, that means Tyson Bagent is doing something better.
Well, that means he was shitty, so Tyson Bagent had to come in.
If he comes in and it may win him, if you're getting the same results with Tyson Bagent as you're getting with him, you're kind of breaking even. You don't want that to happen, but at least things aren't getting worse because then you have to go back to him. But
I don't know. It worked for what's his name in Carolina. He got benched and came back, played better. Why can't I think of his name?
What's his name? Redhead from TCU. Redhead for TCU.
No.
You're not talking about Baker Mayfield, right?
No, the number 1 pick a few years ago.
What the red? The one
with the backpack looked like he was still in high school.
Oh, you talking about Bryce Young?
Bryce Young, there you go.
Towards the end of the year, he started playing better. I'm looking for him to have someone.
He got benched, and then he came back, and he was playing better. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He did come back. Damn, what's my man's name? The redhead who played at TCU and played with the Cincinnati Bengals, Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
Yeah, they put Dalton in. He looked all right in the beginning. Then people caught up to him and says, "Yo, you still Andy Dalton?" And then he kind of left, and then Bryce came in, played well. I'm looking for Bryce to have a breakthrough season, and that's all relative when you're talking about the Carolina Panthers, because if you can get 5 wins, 6 wins, that's a breakthrough season if you're looking good doing it and looking good for their standards, because last season was abysmal. I mean, this guy couldn't complete a pass. He was throwing interceptions. He couldn't stay upright. The defense isn't worth a doggone. Even though this guy may not be an impact player for them, but Hunter Renfrow, I'm glad he made the team. He has a hamstring issue right now. This is the dude who left football and had a talk with Debo Swinney, and because he played with Clemson, and they got him a shot again with the Carolina Panthers, and my man made the team. So he's one of those little short Wayne Chrebet kind of guys, Wes Welker kind of guy, even a little bit of Julian Edelman kind of player. I'm thinking that once this hamstring thing is up, he'll get a chance to come back in and do what, help the team out at least, be a safety valve for Bryce. Bryce, I think, is going to have somewhat of a breakthrough year for his standards and what Carolina has set as a standard now. So I'm hoping that it works out that way. So we've got all of our picks down. And, God, I wish the Jets, who I could have called a bust, Aaron freaking Rodgers. But is that really a bust if he comes out doing nothing? Because he did nothing with the Jets. So going to Pittsburgh and doing nothing, bro, that's not being a bust. That's being an old quarterback.
That's the reason for Mike Tomlin to get fired right there. You wanted this guy. You wanted him, and we're 3-8.
And they waited for him too.
We're 3-8. You get whacked. There's the door.
Bro, but you know what? If he played well, be the damn Jets.
Jets fans is gonna be checking into therapy.
Man, I'm thinking the Jets running the ball effectively and having that solid defense can keep them in the mix. And when I did my little Jets show with my little Jets homies, we came up with them at least going to the freaking wild card game. Win 9 games, man. That defense is worth it. I'm just hoping the best for what Justin Fields brings, but I'm hoping that running game, it'll be something like a college option where you have your running backs and you have your quarterback who can be effective, but more so running than being effective, but it all works out at the end. That's what I'm hoping. But now you lose your number one guard.
When they put 8 or 9 in the box, will the Jets be able to run?
When they put 8, 9 in the box, can Justin Fields expose that? That should be more of the question.
Well, yeah, that is the question. But
should he be able to expose it? I think he can. Bro, he doesn't need to be in the NFL. If they're putting 8 and 9 in the box and he can't do a damn thing with Garrett Wilson out there being the player that he is, but even Alan Lazard, they should be able to get open.
I'm just asking the question, man.
Man, if he doesn't find these guys, man, I'm gonna have to.
Come on, man. It's almost 8 o'clock your time. Let's wrap this up.
Let's get up out of here, man. We've made our picks. If you're gonna watch all of them, take some of those picks. They're really off the board if you want to check some of them out, especially my Washington Redskins pick. Forget Command is all about that. Anyway, he's biased. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast is going to come to an end because the NFL has started today. Tomorrow, they're going to Brazil, or they're already in Brazil, but there will be a game in Brazil. Next week, for those of you who are interested, is Fight Week. So you already know what's going down. Bud Crawford, Canelo Alvarez is coming on. So until then,